permit me to engage you for a minute. Can you put off your hands? Like, put forward your hands. Okay, so I'm going to be asking you 5 questions. If you fail in any of them, you put down one hand. So we want to know how stressed we have been lately. So just thank you, Abdul Malik. Thank you. All right. So the first question, if you have been stressed to the point that you feel like taking a break, but you couldn't take the break because of your business, put that one hand. You have been really stressed in this between January and now that you wish you can take a break, but you can't just take that break because your business, put that one hand. Okay. Have we done that? All right, let's move to the next question. If you have visited the hospital, but you were told to take a rest and you couldn't take the rest because of work, put down another hand. All right, let me have it. You have visited the hospital, you have been given treatment, but you were not able to take a rest because of it. Put that one hand. All right, to the third question. If your business has got you worried to the point that you couldn't about the filing, you were just worried about something in particular in your business that you could not sleep, put that one hand. We have 2 more questions to go, 2 more questions to go, and then we'll rate ourselves after this. Okay, if you have sacrificed your health for the health of your business, you were not feeling fine, but you feel like if I go now, no one is going to handle the business. My business will just crash and be on a hold. So you couldn't just, you had to sacrifice your health for the health of your business, put that one hand. All right, we're going to the last question. If you have been skipping meals because of your business, because of work, you have been skipping meals. Honesty, you have been skipping meals. Put that one hand. Okay, now let me have in the comment section. How many fingers do you have more? How many fingers do you have standing? Let me have in the comment section. Let's see how we have been. How stressed have we been? How good have we been doing? So Felix, is that 5 for me? Oh, Tayo has only one. That means Tayo has really been stressed. Tayo has really been stressed. Thank God we are here. We are here to see how to put a balance, maintaining that. Emmanuel has only one hand. Emmanuel has really been stressed. And Pascal and Comfort are trying. They're trying. They're trying to put a balance to it. All right, thank you. Let me still have it in the comment section. How many fingers more do you have standing? Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And it's my utmost delight to be here today because today's webinar is not just about writing, it's not just about learning. I just saw 3. Oh, that is great. Most impressive. Thank you so very much. Thank you. So today's webinar is more about a reflection. How well have we been with it? How well have I been stressed? One thing I noticed about stress, one thing I realized is it doesn't have the great symptoms that other disease or other illness has. It doesn't make you unusually dramatic. It is just very, very subtle. Yes, it is killing you. So today we want to see how do we manage stress as entrepreneurs? Because we have to think about our business, we have to think about the finance, we have to think about the finance, the government, the regulation. All of these things are all what you have to do as a business owner. So the stress are there. But how do we manage it such that we do not burn out? Because if it is not managed, it will definitely impact our business. So we have two speakers this morning that will be speaking to us. One concerning what is happening inside of you. What is happening when you're stressed, yet you're working. And the other person is going to be taking us on how to manage these external factors that cause us to be stressed. External factors like the regulations, how do we do our payrolls, all of those things. So today's webinar is so packed. And I have speaking with us today, it's such an honor to have Dr. Ebele Uzo-Peters, who is a graduate from the prestigious University of Ibadan, a seasoned clinician and a general practitioner with a strong passion for family medicine, digital medicine, and your holistic well-being. He is currently practicing at One Health Medical Center, Lagos. Thank you very much, Dr. Ebele, for joining us. It's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you.
All right, so I would also introduce shortly our second speaker, who is Dr. Debo Onifade. He's the founder of HR PayUp and a CEO of Dillon App, a global software and outsourcing company with all these platforms that you're able to calculate all of the tax and everything around it. He's a passionate leader on technology, the economy, and public policy. He's also a graduate from the prestigious University of Ibadan with a master's. It's such a pleasure to have you here today with us. Thank you so very much. All right, so we would be going straight into the first session of our webinar, and that will be taken by Dr. Deep. But just to help us understand how do we manage the stress that we go through as entrepreneurs. Dr. Ebele, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for coming. We really do appreciate.
Sorry, am I up now?
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session. I'm really glad to be talking about this topic of burnout because it's about healthcare and health, as we know, is wealth. The World Health Organization defines health as the state of complete physical and social and mental well-being. Some definitions add spiritual, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So the fact that I don't have a headache, I don't have back pain, does not essentially mean I'm healthy. One of the causes of ill health or disease, common causes of chronic ill health, is what we're looking at this morning, and it is known as stress. We may not agree, but that when health is lost, something is lost. Had I have a a friend who once just slumped at work, fell down and was unconscious, taken to the hospital, and all the tests were done. And they all came out normal. His heart, his lungs, his liver, his kidney, this brain scan, nothing. And so he was puzzled. I looked at him and said, "You need to rest. You are stressed. We know you are stressed. All right. And you need to take out at least 2 weeks to rest." And he laughed. He said, "2 weeks? With the kind of business I'm running, I cannot do that." And so he went off on Friday, added it to Saturday and Sunday, and rested for 3 days. 2 weeks after, he slumped in the office again, taken to the hospital. All the tests were done. They were normal, but he had gotten the message by that time. So we're looking at the burnout trap, recognizing stress before it breaks you. And the whole objective is to sustain high performance for us as business owners. It's not to reduce performance, but to actually increase the quality of our productivity and output. I'm a medical doctor by profession, and there is a very common condition that used to be known as something that comes up in your 40s, but is now being seen in the 30s and in the 20s. And it is high blood pressure or hypertension, and um, Hypertension is known as the silent killer because it does not, very few people have any symptoms. Maybe less than 1 out of 5, 20% will say, I've been feeling a headache for a long time. No symptoms. Then a stroke, no symptoms. Then a heart attack, no symptoms. Then the kidneys begin to act up. So it's called the silent killer. So I would be talking using an outline so that we can follow. I'll be talking about uh, what burnout is, signs to look out for when someone is stressed and approaching the stage of burnout, the difference between being stressed and high performance, why it is difficult for many business owners and business founders to rest, the biology of stress and stress hormones and sleep and all of that. And then I would talk to mitigate stress, to reduce stress. And then finally, how to know when it is time to seek professional help. Business owners. It's a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion and is caused by prolonged stress and overwork. It is very common among business owners because they have to juggle a lot of things at the same time. All right. And so it's the key signs are how a person knows that they've gotten to the level of burnout is you feel drained of energy. You may feel detached from work. That's called depersonalization. And then there's just reduced effectiveness. All right. I'll talk more about this as we go on. So, uh, Lagos, it's home to millions of SMEs, and it contributes a lot to the GDP of Nigeria. However, the pressure to compete is immense. 70% of entrepreneurs, especially in Lagos, Nigeria, report high stress levels. High stress levels. About 70%. They experience chronic burnout symptoms, which we're going to look at shortly, according to a 2023 Nigerian Entrepreneurs Survey. And the reason why this is geared towards increasing our productivity, increasing our revenue, and our return on investment is because stress leads to business failure. A study showed that 40% of business failure rates within the first 5 years of starting a small to really matters because it does not just affect our health, it impacts the business bottom line. All right. A recent survey indicates that business owners in Lagos about 20% reduction in their operational efficiency while experiencing or breaking and lost revenue. Another showed that stressed firms report 30%, 40% profit disparity as compared to firms that have a structure in place to limit stress. So there's that pressure in this part of the world, especially in certain parts of Nigeria, like Lagos. There are external factors and there are internal factors. External factors include things like just the environment, traffic congestion, power outages, the volatile market, and those things add to time stress. You can spend hours commuting and Then there are internal factors. And one of the strongest internal factors is what is called the hustle culture. There's just this mentality that we wear as a badge of honor, um, um, feeling that you need to stress yourself to show, that you are doing something. It's called a hustle culture or a grind culture. You see people saying, I've not gone on, people that work in the office setting, I've not gone on leave, I've not taken leave since this year began. It's something, in the office setting, for instance, people, saying that I was the last to leave the office or I was the last to close my shop. I work 18 hours on my business every day. I sleep for 4 hours. It's called the myth of the sufferhead business owner or entrepreneur or business founder. All right. And it's not necessarily a sign of productivity. It can rapidly and readily lead to the breakdown of our health and complete exhaustion. Okay. And so it's important to understand the difference. There's a difference between high performance, quality output, and stress. They are not the same thing. Okay. Somebody may be stressed sometimes in the clinic. So many business owners work up to 80 hours a week. Um, 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 there was a question just before the session started about if you have had to skip your meal, if you had to neglect your health, found out everything. And even in the first 5 years, the first 3 years of starting a business, this kind of structure is not sustainable. If I'm not there, nothing will happen. Then we've talked about the economic pressure. And then in this part of the world as well, there's limited conversation on mental health. People go through mental pressure, anxiety, depression, fears, worries, doubts from all kinds of things, from being outrun by competitors, from being unable to pay loans, from being unable to um, stay out of the red, and so on and so forth. And there's no conversation about it. No, people don't even know that there are avenues, there are special professional outfits, even in Lagos State and around the country. Numbers, hotlines you can call. All right. And then, of course, there's the hustle culture dominance. So, what are the signs of burnout? We have emotional signs, we have physical signs, and we have what is called decision fatigue. All right. Decision fatigue is part of the emotional signs of burnout. Okay. Um, if you have five, if there are five, I'm going to talk about 5 signs of emotional fatigue. Number one is loss of passion for what you do. You're just going through the motion. You're not really feeling it anymore. Number two is irritability. You are just irritable all the time. You snap at people, a little something happens, and you're already saying you are fired. I will slap you or get out of here. Number three is emotional volatility. You find it very easy to break down in tears or in anger, and all of that. Number four is social withdrawal. You just stay away from friends and family. You want to stay back in the shop. You get home, you don't want to talk to anybody. You want to stay on your own, even though you feel lonely. And number five is decision fatigue. All right. So these are emotional signs of burnout, loss of motivation. You feel trapped. You feel detached from the business, but you can't stop because people will say that your business, and so on and so forth. And the reason why we are having this session is that the solution is possible. All right. It is not really the business. It is stress. These are responses to the fact that you have overworked yourself. So the physical signs are persistent fatigue, tension, headaches, digestive issues, poor sleep. You can't sleep at night. All right, you stay awake, even though you got home tired, you stay awake till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. before you can fall asleep, or till morning. And of course, there's decision fatigue, where you avoid taking decisions, you avoid making big choices, you spend hours looking at emails and things like that. All right. So these things lead to, as we've said before, even up to 40% drop in productivity. So how do you separate being stressed from being highly functional and high performing? When you're high performing, of course, the third one, sorry, is we've already said, business owners make up to, I mean, thousands. A particular study showed that some business owners make 35,000 decisions a day. And so your prefrontal cortex, that's the front of the brain, is depleted by stress just by thinking about the things that you have to make decisions on, the calculations and this, and the permutations and all of that. And it can become paralyzing. It's called paralysis of analysis. It leads to procrastination, missed opportunities, errors during negotiation, during calculation, and things like that. So there's a difference between being stressed and being highly performing. It's very important to distinguish between the two. You are highly performing, all right, you feel that energy is there and it comes in short bursts. You see, I'll explain that when I start talking about the hormonal aspect. It comes in short bursts of energy. It doesn't go on for, for weeks, for some days. You may have a target to meet, a delivery to make, a client to supply and all of that. You see, so there's a focus and there's a strategy. You are running with a vision. There's something, and there's the energy to meet that vision. Stress, on the other hand, is exhausting. You find out that you are reacting. This happens, you react. You're forgetting things, okay? And it's depleting you. And when you are highly performing, productivity increases. But when you are stressed, your productivity begins to reduce. So there's something, I don't want to bore you with medical details, but there's something that is called the HPA axis, all right? The hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis. Stress hijacks it. It's a normal function in the body, but stress hijacks it and keeps flooding your body with certain hormones, primarily the hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. That hormone disrupts almost everything in your body when it's just being secreted. Number one, it raises your blood sugar level and your insulin level. It makes that's why some entrepreneurs, some hardworking people trying to lose weight, going to the gym. You see, but as long as cortisol is high, fat will not be digested. It causes muscle breakdown even when you're sleeping. It causes memory loss, reduced focus, and it suppresses the immune system, increases the wear and tear, reduces testosterone for men. That's libido. That's why a lot of people that are, very busy at their place and so on and so forth, they just discover that they're not interested in certain things anymore. It is cortisol. All right. And stress increases cortisol and disrupts sleep. Sleep that is disrupted further increases cortisol. The increased cortisol further disrupts sleep. So it's a vicious cycle. It's called the stress cycle. In the first month, you avoid making decisions. You are detached emotionally from people at work, from the work itself. And by the third to fourth month, you feel completely exhausted. Some people begin to start feeling symptoms of depression, like sadness, hopelessness, emotional numbness, or anxiety, panic attacks, racing thoughts, intrusive thoughts, worries, or health. When I first, after my house job, NYSC, and I started practicing medicine as a doctor, I just noticed that there was a demographic when it came to miscarriages. Their own was higher than any other group of people. Bank workers, out of every 10 miscarriages, spontaneous miscarriages, 4 work in the bank. And I had to start talking to them. You see, some of these targets you're trying to meet and so on and so forth, it's affecting you. You have to find a balance. You have to find a way around it. You see, so these are the red flags. Some people come down with malaria every 2 weeks, every month, and they say I'm AA. It's not the genotype, it is stress. And there's this hormone called cortisol that has reduced the immunity, causing, repeated illnesses. You see, so it keeps your brain on an always on state. Your brain is always on, even when you're sleeping. Sleep. So because of time, I want to just go. You see, it has been proven over and over again by all that an adult requires 7 to 9 hours of sleep. An adult requires 8 hours of sleep. On average, 7 to 9, not six. 6 hours of sleep. Even I'm laughing at myself because I don't sleep 8 hours, but that is what the science shows. And that is someone, motivational speakers will tell you that you sleep 8 hours a day, that's 1/3 of your day. By the time you are 30, you have slept for 10 years. Sleep is not idleness. Many business owners feel guilty when they wake up after sleeping for 6 hours, 5 hours. They feel guilty as if the world is passing them by. No, when you sleep, your body is repairing itself. They are replacing files into the filing cabinets. They are uploading things back into the cloud and all of that. It's restorative. All right. And it's not just the quantity of sleep, it's the quality of sleep. As much as possible, the quality of sleep demands that your bedroom should be cool. If you have air conditioning, fantastic. Set it, to about 20 degrees centigrade. Or if you have a fan, fine, open the windows, or if generators are not going to prevent you from sleeping, if you can, and all of that. And then there's what is called screen curfew. 1 hour before bedtime, no phones, no screens, no tablets, no laptop, because of what is called blue light. Blue light suppresses melatonin, which helps with sleep and increases cortisol, the stress hormone. And there are other things that people take, like energy drinks, even coffee, hence caffeine. Caffeine extends that stress hormone. Instead of it to act for 4 hours, it will act for 9 hours. Very important. It's really very, very important. It's our body's primary recovery mechanism. Yet, especially in Lagos, entrepreneurs average 4 to 5 hours. And when you're living in Ikorodu and your business is in VI, you have to wake up at 4, 5. I remember when I was working in a hospital in Ikorodu, they brought in a man at 2 a.m. I was doing the night shift. That was in 2016. They carried him on both sides. Very heavy man, was over 100 kg. He had been gaining weight and all of that. He had what we call hypertensive encephalopathy. His blood pressure was 204. All right. There are other things that you do, and you can practice it now. There's something that's called the psychological sigh. It's called you do it, you can do it. It reduces your blood pressure. It makes you calm. It's called double inhalation and slow exhalation. That means you breathe in until your lungs are full. I don't know if you breathe in until your lungs are full, and then a little pain in your chest, and then you exhale, you breathe out very slowly. You can practice it now. Breathe in, take a sharp breath until your lungs are full. Then breathe in a little bit more, and then exhale slowly, counting 1 to 4. One, as you breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. You will feel calmness come all over your body. That is a very, very powerful calming technique. You can do it several times a day. You can set an alarm on your phone, on your smartwatch, and calm yourself down. It reduces your heart rate, reduces your blood pressure, and makes you feel calm. There's what is called the 90-10 rhythm. Your brain peaks every 90 minutes. So after every 1.5 hours, 90 minutes, force yourself to take a 10 minute. You can even do 5 minutes. Take a walk for 5, 10 minutes, and then come back and keep walk for another 90 minutes. So if you are working long hours, you know, at the business and all of that, time yourself. You start working at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. Once it's 9:30, just walk around for 10 minutes. Remove your mind from everything else. It's not just lunch time or break time and lunch break and all of that. No, there's the 90-10 rule. And there's also what is called the NSDR. It's called the non-sleep deep rest. You don't have to sleep to rest. You can you can recline on your chair or put your head on the table and just close your eyes. Hours, because a lot of people are stressed, or tell someone to wake you, you know, and and you can start practicing them now. In fact, even if you don't sleep or rest, but you just helps. Sitting for long periods is a stress. It's hard and all of that. So after sitting for long period, that's why old people, get sick sometimes all the time. Their bones get weak and all that because they are old and they sit and they don't, they stop working. If you notice, when some people resign from their jobs, they get old very fast. It's because they are sedentary. They just eat, sleep, and sit down, eat, sleep, sit down. Train 1 hour, 30 minutes, you have to stop and walk around. Walking is therapeutic, even for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes every day, and just walking and seeing nature. Well, there's not much nature in some parts of this country, but just walk around and then go back to your laptop or go back to your shop or go back to your business. So when do you know to seek help? You begin to look for help when, before you get to the point of no return. It's very important. All red flags. You see that now. So depression, you're always feeling sad, you're feeling blessed, you're feeling emotionally numb, you're having panic attacks, thoughts that you cannot control, you're worried all the time about your business, your health down all the time, your blood pressure goes up. I never used to have hypertension. You have on this unexplainable chest pain, you're losing weight, you cannot explain it, you're gaining weight. Research shows that 20% of business owners in Lagos, Nigeria, have had suicidal thoughts. You think I would rather kill myself than, this business will now fail. People will now know that this business did not, and so on and so forth. And there are hotline resources which I would share, as I begin to round up. So suicidal thoughts, substance abuse. You find out that you're clubbing more than you used to, you're drinking, smoking, you're taking, whatever it is, weed, just to burn off the stress. That is a red flag. That's the time to seek help. And then sometimes you're just unable to function. You get to work and you're just looking like this. You can't do anything. You're staring at the laptop, for 30 minutes, 1 hour. It's called brain fog or mental fog. You're just slow throughout the day and all of that. That is the time to know that I need to slow down. I need to close this thing. Will 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 not is not more important than my health. It may even continue if something should happen to me. You know, I know we heard about the story of a very wealthy man, Mr. Wigwe, who passed on years ago and all of that. Very wealthy, fantastic entrepreneur and all of that. His businesses will go on. You see, so when you begin to notice these red flags, one of them is poor sleep. I've mentioned that earlier. You can't sleep, you know, or you wake up in the morning and you don't want to get off the bed, either because you are tired, dog tired, and it happens in and out, or you are afraid. Your heart is heavy because you're just afraid that this business is not moving forward and so on and so forth. That is the time to seek help. One of the things I'm going to say as a medical doctor is that business owners should do regular, at least annual health checks. Their packages for different ages. For those that are less than 30, 30 to 45, 45 to 65 and above, and so on and so forth. You should have your annual health check. They'll check your heart, check your lungs, check your kidneys, your liver, your cholesterol, and um, your urine, your blood count, and things like that. You see, so medical health, annual health check is very, very important. You will discover things that you can work on and prevent before it becomes an issue. And sometimes you can walk into a pharmacy and check your blood pressure. Always sit down for like 5, 10 minutes. Don't walk out, from Lagos Road or from jump out of your car and enter the pharmacy and check your blood pressure, you might be disappointed because the pressure is real and it's getting worse. So you sit down, even when you get to the hospital, don't let them rush you. Sit down for like 5, 10 minutes. That's when you know your real blood pressure, not the one that is due to stress. And you can get your own BP monitor. All right. Check your blood sugar, because cortisol causes insulin resistance, and that can lead to early onset, diabetes coming earlier than usual, especially when there's a family history. There are so many hospitals and labs that have different packages. Make a decision today, to check it out. I have just about 4 or 5 minutes. So there are hotlines, that you can access mental health support. There's what is called Lagos Mind, Lagos MIND. You can access mental health support is a hotline 070 0750 then 6463. 0750 then 6463. All right. You have the same number 090 then 9,000 6463. That one is available on WhatsApp. I'm so sorry. I've not been following the slides. So this just shows while business founders struggle to rest, fear of failure, everything depends on them. Constant pressure. They feel responsible for employees. They have to pay salaries. Fear of falling behind competitors. The hustle culture. Just keep working and all of that, and then lack of boundaries and structure. This difference between high performance and chronic stress. High performance, you're focused, you're energized, you're purpose driven, you're following your strategy. Chronic stress is just exhaustive. You are reacting to things, to deadlines, to pressure, and your output is declining. All right. This is about the stress hormone. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It gives poor sleep, and then, poor sleep raises cortisol even further, and that leads to a vicious cycle, that leads to burnout. Okay. And so this is the stress cycle. All right. And so these are the practical stress regulation. Take daily walks. It can be in the morning if you're a morning person and you have time, or in the evening. Deep breathing, like I said, inhale until your lungs are full, and then you exhale slowly over 4 seconds. Count it in your mind 1, 2, 3, 4. Then create structure in your work hours. Delegation is very important, even when you're just three. In your first years of that business, it reduces stress by 20 to 25%. And then sometimes, especially if you have an online business, you need to take digital breaks. When I was working in Bagada, in hospital in Bagada, there's this eatery. I don't want to mention the name because, let me mention the name. I think it's Yakoyo or something like that. Every time you go there, there's always, because I think that they have this signature amala and all of that. People are always there buying food. If you don't know how to shout, that's what I mean. I think I'm a gentleman, but there you can't be a gentleman. You have to shout, amala, you will do this one, answer me now, and all of that. One day I was at work on Monday and I went there. Monday, there was nothing. The place was locked. I said, what's going on here? They said, no, Monday is their off days. They don't work in that. I don't know if they've changed. You have to have a day, where a whole day, 6 days. I've heard different business owners across the world say this, that there's a day they do not work. They don't read, and then, Instagram break. You don't go online. Races that succeed are like marathons. If you want to run a 100 meters race, you can sprint and run. But if you're going to run a marathon, you have to pace yourself. There are times you will sprint, there are times you will jog slowly and all of that. Slow and steady wins the race. All right. So hacks, you need to have a morning routine, take micro breaks, the 90-10 rule, if you remember, batch decisions. That's tell them to bring, okay, let me see, what are the things I will need to do this morning. Don't bring them to me one by one. Okay, and then take decisions. You can have a time when you answer emails from 9 to 10 a.m. and you answer all the emails at that time. Limit multitasking, weekly reset time, which we've talked about. It can be 12 hours in a week, but one day is better. And then begin to structure your business. Know who does what and delegate. When to seek help when you have persistent fatigue, when you are anxious or depressed, you have sleep problems, you can see that the business is not performing as it should, you consult a professional. All right. So in conclusion, so there's also Suprin. Suprin is Suicide Prevention and Research Initiative. Suprin, Suprin. You can Google it. They have a hotline that is toll free. If you're thinking if it's gotten that bad, okay, a research shows that it's an investment strategy to invest in your health. 100,000 naira investment in your health from time to time, every 6 months, every 1 year, is cheaper than losing millions, 50 million, 80 million, because of business collapse as a result of founder illness. All right. So, in conclusion, burnout is preventable. How? Recognize the early signs. Once you start seeing that you're irritable, your sleep is poor, you're breaking down in illness and so on and so forth, you have to take some steps to manage stress. If you try to do it on your own and it's not working, then you have to seek professional help. Data shows that business owners who seek who have regular health checks with their doctors and seek professional help. You can talk to your therapist, to a psychologist, to your pastor, or to your imam, and all of that, that they are 30% more resilient. That means their businesses last longer than those who do not. All right. So watch the signs, respect the biology, regulate the cycle, and you will move from the burnout trap to the productivity triumph. As I round up, I want to make one call to action, and that is this month of April, we still have, let's say, roughly a week. Schedule an appointment with your doctor, or with your hospital, all right, and go and do your health check if you have not done it this year. This is already the fourth month of the year. And that is an action point that you can take for your health to reduce burnout. Thank you for your time and for listening. It has been an honor talking with you. Cheers.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Ibili. That was such an impactful session. Please, people with your favorite emoji, can I see your reactions to Dr. Ibili? Can we tell him a very big thank you? Thank you so very much, sir. We're so glad to have you. I have my own takeout from the meeting. Your business succeeds not just because you are doing everything on a day-to-day basis, but because you are being productive, and your productivity is related to how much of stress that you're able to manage. I've also been able to learn that sleep is our primary recovery mechanism. Take breaks, and take breaks. Thank you so very much. So please, in the comment section, can I have what you're going to be doing going forward? What are you going to be doing? What are you going to do to help manage your health? What are you going to be doing? What is your takeout from this session before we move into the financial aspects of today's session? That is basically the external factors that cause us to stress. So Doctor had explained that some of these things are because we have to manage our businesses by ourselves. We are more like the alpha and the omega of our businesses. So how are we able to reduce the amount of stress that we get from each of these things that we manage, each of them, from your payroll to managing your profit to ensuring that you keep the margin? How do we manage them? So let me have once again in the comment section, what are you going to be doing going forward? Taking a deep breath. I think I'm going to be doing that too. Very much, Mr. Ikena. So we are businesses that are productive. We are businesses that are sustainable, not just one generation business. We truly love SMEs, and it will not just be productive or successful by doing it for just one generation. The success of it will be that we're able to do it from generation to generation. A generation is taken up from you, and that is only because you're able to manage yourself well, so you're able to manage the business. Thank you so very much. So we're going to be going shortly into the second session of today's webinar. And that is basically on you managing your finances, safeguarding your profits, reducing the stress of the tax and the regulations, all of this. So I'm going to please implore you to join me as we welcome Engineer Deba Onifade, who is the founder of HR PayUp, that will be taking us on this great session. He's also a graduate from the University of Ibadan. Thank you so very much, Engineer Deba, for being with us. Thank you very much, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Let's
morning, sir.
hold on a second. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I will be sharing my screen. Hold on. Let's see. And I'll do my best to finish early so that people can ask questions. I think that'll be better. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Just a second. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, sir.
Good morning. So today I'll be um, talking to you about taxes, and you know, government has said a lot on TV. A lot of uh, notices are out, but one thing you haven't heard a lot from them is how to um, you know, how to be compliant without uh, overpaying taxes. It's your responsibility to be compliant, but to help your business, you also want to make sure that you take advantage of all the deductibles. Uh,
Engineer Debo, please pardon me for interrupting you. Can I please ask of the audience to please drop their questions in the
okay,
question and answer box so that we just
yeah,
take that seamlessly after the end of your session? Thank you very
yeah,
much. And sorry for the
that'd be
interruption.
good. Let me just, yeah, that'd be good. I like to be reading them. Okay, good. Can you still see my screen though?
Oh, yes, we can.
Okay, I want to be seen. Okay, so I'll talk about the four key taxes: payee, VAT, CIT, and withholding tax. I'll explain how to understand compliance, how to maximize your deductions, and how to minimize your tax liability legally. And the idea is to do things legally, but you want to make sure you maximize your all the relief possible. And then lastly, of course, I'll show you technology, how to ease tax calculations and compliance. The first one I'll talk about is payee. Um, you know, when people talk about pay, you think only about employees, but pay is not just about employees. If you are here, you have an enterprise business, your net profit is calculated with the pay breakdown. Okay, so pay for enterprises, and for enterprises, taxes are calculated based on pay calculations applied to your net profit. So you have to create your P&L properly, and it's that net profit that you apply your pay calculations on. And of course, for your employees, this is the new calculation according to the tax laws. First, 0 to 800,000, tax free. 800,000 to 3 million, 15%, 3 million to 12 million, and so on. But I'm going to show you, I think I'm going to have to share my entire screen. I'm going to show you, because I want to make this practical. So I'm going to share my entire screen so that, because the biggest value you get from this meeting is knowing how to do this by yourself. Ultimately, we want to add value such that you can save money. And so I'm going to show you how to use this free calculator, and it's perpetually free. You can use this to calculate your taxes, do your tax planning, and so on. And you don't need an accountant for this. whether you're dealing with last year taxes, people are still filing. I think LRS is giving people up to end of this month. If you're filing for last year, you have to use the old tax. So this is the website, hrpup.com. You have tax calculator. If you want to do, if you're filing for last year, which I think you still have you still have a few days, use the old tax law. If you're calculating for this year, use the current tax law. Now you select full-time, okay, full-time employee. Let's say the person is earning 2 million naira gross. Click out. The first thing the app does is to break this down into 4 components. You need these 3 components for pension calculation: basic, housing, transport. And of course, this is the difference. So these 4 add up to the gross salary 2 million. You can tweak this as you wish. You can adjust these figures, these 3 figures, adjust to 300,000. You would notice that this gets adjusted. You scroll down, you put your health insurance. These are deductibles you should take advantage of. If you're spending money on health insurance for your employees, so I put 50,000 there as a healthcare deductible, health insurance. Life insurance, if you have life insurance for your staff or for yourself. Temporary disability insurance, and so on. Permanent disability insurance, and rent relief. In the new tax law, you're allowed to claim rent relief as much as you can, but the relief itself is capped at 500. The requirement here is that the employee has to share with you a receipt, a rent receipt. Once you have this rent receipt, you can claim a deductible. This helps you to lower taxes for that employee. And this is part of what I'm talking about. You need to maximize all your deductibles. Okay, if you put 2 million there, you get more additional relief, as long as there's a receipt to back it up. Now, pension. Hold on, I'm gonna have to put this on another website. Hold on. This is something strange. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, I didn't see. Yeah, let me use this folder. Okay. So I'll go back there. Let me show you. I was saying, okay. So this toggle, if you want to, if you're not remitting pension right now, you can toggle off, and there are many employers who are not remitting pension. Maybe they have few employees. You can toggle this on and off. This is what makes this very flexible. NSITF is calculated for you. If you're not doing that right now, you can toggle it off. You have NHF also available. You can toggle on and off. At the end, you see the rent relief allowance. You click on calculate taxes, and the system gives you these figures. And you can play with it by yourself as we're working. If you want me to send this to the group and play with it. Okay, can play with it and let me know your questions. So that's payee. It's for, and again, if you're not a limited company, this is also what you use to generate your taxes based on your net. Okay. I'll move to CIT, company income tax. If you own a limited company here. Now, according to the new to the gazetted copy, I'm sure you know that there are a couple of copies out there. It says 0. The gazetted copy that I have, I don't know if they've changed it, but this is what was published. 0 to 50 million, you make, you don't pay any tax. 50 to 100 million, 20%. over 100 million, 30%. But let me quickly make this point. Government officials have gone online on TV encouraging people to, register as limited businesses, telling them that they will enjoy this 0%. But there's something they've not said, they've kept quiet about, but it's in the law. If you're offering professional services, you will not enjoy this 0% benefit. So, and the question, who is delivering a professional service? It's vague. Some of the tax officials say things like any business that requires license to operate in Nigeria is a professional service company. So what am I telling our friends? We've been telling them, especially if you have an enterprise right now, a small business owner, don't rush. Don't rush your revenue to your limited businesses, because most likely you will not enjoy this 0% tax relief. It's very easy for government to classify you as professional service company, except you're selling pepper, you're selling Coke, you're selling stuff on the streets, and you're making 40 million. Oh yeah, I think that's easy to enjoy the 0% exemption. But if you're doing a white collar business and you did not even know that you require license, and you might be surprised during an audit, somebody might tell you that you actually require a license. So and that's why I put it here. Again, government officials have said more of 100 million. I've heard the tax people say 100 million on TV instead of 50 million. So I'll be telling people to think more about this 50 million and not 100, because this is the document available. You can't plan your taxes based on what government officials say on TV. Okay, and I've talked about professional services here. And I've given you the definition. The definition of professional service is a company that requires license. But like I said, it's pretty vague. It can be interpreted differently. Now go to withholding tax. This is very confusing to a lot of people. Small businesses don't really need to care so much. The business has said that the government has made it liberal. Small businesses don't really have to deduct. I think there's a threshold now that is lower than before, but I just wanted to explain this just for everybody to know. Especially if people deduct, especially if you have some clients deducting from your invoice. So you need to know this so you can argue with the client. A lot of people in Nigeria easily want to deduct 5% or 10%, the big companies. And you'd be surprised. Some of the big companies are they're not current with the tax laws. So if you're working for a big company and they're deducting 5% and you're sure that you're delivering goods, non-professional services, then you should tell them that they should deduct 2% from your invoice and not 5%. And the deduction should be on the subtotal on your invoice. It should not be on the total. If you're a professional service company, it used to be 10%, but it's now 5%. That's what should be deducted from your subtotal. Of course, rent is still 10%, directors' fees, interest payments for non-residents, as well as royalties. Now talk about VAT. I'm sure many of you here file VAT every month. VAT output is not debatable. You are supposed to, VAT output is a 7.5 on your sale invoice. But the input VAT is what a lot of SMEs don't really, they don't take seriously. Forgetting that when you're about to remit VAT to government, your liability is VAT output minus VAT input. So you need to get as many VAT input documents as possible. You need to make sure that your VAT input is as high as possible to be able to reduce your liability. And what does that mean? You buy something in the market, ask them for a receipt. the law requires everybody to pay tax, to pay VAT. So you have technically paid VAT. If it's a valuable service or goods, tell them to put VAT on the receipt for you, because you need that input VAT on your invoice or receipt to be able to claim input. Ask them to put their TI number on the receipt or invoice, because that's something the tax authorities might want. And when you're filing at the end of the month, make sure you input your input tax and use that, of course, to deduct to reduce your liability. In some cases, especially if you are in a sector where your products are not vatable, you might realize that your input VAT is actually higher than your output VAT. What that means is you can use the credit against future months, or government has to refund the money. In Nigeria, government typically doesn't refund, but if you have credit with government, you're actually supposed to get a refund. But you have to be diligent with trying to get input VAT documentation as much as possible. Okay. Now, if you're working for banks here, you have clients that are commercial banks, oil and gas companies, government agencies. Most likely they are deducting your VAT from source. They're not paying you the VAT. You take note of that, because that's like you've already paid that. You paid that VAT already. So when you're doing your VAT remittance, you include that VAT as an additional VAT input technically. Because if they deduct your VAT from source, it means you have already remitted that. It's like an advanced VAT payment from you. Okay. Now I'll show you how you can also use this on the application. Okay. I think I'll end here for now. I'll show you more things on the application, but I want to take some questions. Now let me see. Okay. Any question? I can't see this question. Wants to dig deeper. Okay. No question. Is this a question? Where is the Q&A box? Yeah, here. Okay. I don't think there's any question right
Yeah,
now.
no questions for now, sir.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. So let me show you a little bit about, let me just show you P&L a little bit. Okay, I run an interior firm. Okay, are you run an interior? Are you trying to ask a question? That's Liana. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I think so. How do I calculate VAT for my clients? It's 7.5% of your selling price. Yeah. Interior, yeah, services are vatable in Nigeria. 7.5 of your sales price. Yes, it's 7.5. Okay. So I just wanted to show a little bit of P&L. We also have, while I showed you a free tax calculator earlier, and I want to talk a lot more about that, because my objective here is to show you how you can enjoy these things free of charge, so you don't have to pay any money. But I also want to show you, especially if you have a limited company. A limited company, you need to, taxes are based on your CIT, company income tax, is calculated on your profit. Okay. That's not covered in that pay calculator. So we have several features on this application itself, and part of the features is the financial reports analytics. This allows you to do your journal entry every day, inputs, and what makes it different, it's created specifically for Nigerian companies. And so VAT, withholding tax, everything there is created based on expectations from Nigeria, I think it's NRS, no longer FRS. Okay. And at the end of the month, what it means is that if you do your inputs properly, you can, with a single click, generate your P&L. it gives you your entire P&L. It can generate your annual statement for you, which you submit to government, generates your depreciation for you, generate your profit, generates your tax. You see, it calculates your CIT for your company income tax. And like I said, and then the system also asks you questions about what you do to help you determine if you're a professional service company or not, and calculate your tax accordingly. Okay, let me go back. In solar services, is it subject to VAT? I believe solar is subject to VAT, yes. Can I omit? Yeah, go ahead. I think yeah, I don't mind people talking. Go ahead, unmute and ask your question. If Mercy is okay with
Good
that.
morning, Doctor. I don't know, good morning, sir. I would
Y-
have thought that we organize it so that
Okay,
the all questions are taken all
that, that's
together and they
that's
don't
fine.
interrupt. So maybe after your session, we'll just
Yeah,
go
yeah,
straight to this
I'm
one.
technically done. I think the way I created it was to allow time for questions. So I don't mind if
Okay, all right. If you are done, then we can just take
yeah.
it. Thank you very much, sir. All right, thank you very much for this session. We have some questions already in the comments section. So I would allow Lillian to go ahead first since you want to unmute and you have the first question here. All right, Liana,
Okay,
please
okay. So
unmute
All
when
right.
you are able to.
Morning.
just to correct myself quick, I think the new law is exempting um solar, is it a solar generators, solar panels from VAT? You can take note of that. Okay, go ahead, Dillian.
All right. Good morning.
Kevin, I hope I answered your question. Go ahead, Dillian.
All right. Good morning. My name is Liana. I
Yeah.
run an interior design firm. Um, so yes, I give invoice, but most times I actually don't know how to impute the tax. Why? Because it's a service-based company, so it's not like I'm selling a particular product to them. Whatever design I'm doing is probably me subcontracting to other people to, come and install and all of that. So, but I charge a professional fee. So I want to ask, do I charge tax on my professional fee or I charge tax on the entire invoice?
You're supposed to charge VAT on the entire invoice. Everything is vatable. Uh,
Okay,
and
VAT on the entire
be
invoice,
careful not to
including.
use the word professional. When you use that term, you put yourself in that category that you should be running away
Oh,
from.
okay, okay.
I'll use the term service fee.
Yes, is service charge. That's what I
Yeah,
put there.
service charge. That's a good term. Yeah, but it's everything is vatable. If you don't do that, if you get audited, they're gonna ask you for the VAT on the other. I get it. You're trying to be nice to your customers, reducing the VAT, but that's you're gonna put yourself into trouble if you get audited.
Thank you.
Okay, Liana, are you okay with the answer? Are we good to go?
So how do we deal with government regulators overhead reverse? We
Yes.
pay so many bills. Well, I think that has reduced. The law has actually reduced many of those taxes. But I mean, depends on the way it's implemented. But according to the new laws, many green taxes are supposed to be gone by now. VAT on my clients. Okay, I've explained that already.
Okay, we also have a question from Felix asking, what about you run services for oil and gas and you only invoice and you do not get impute VAT? You do not
So
get to impute VAT form for the purchases.
Okay, so that's what I explained earlier, and I'm gonna show you something again. So now, if you're an oil and gas company, and I'll show you more about how our application helps people. I mentioned earlier that, and you can, you can take HR pay up if you have questions. Get somebody that can provide more answers later. Oil and gas is a peculiar field. They deduct VAT from source. So that's not input VAT, it's output VAT that you did not receive. So when you're filing your VAT, you input that there's a portion, there is a field for VAT deducted from source. So it's like you've paid that amount already. So it will be output minus input minus VAT deducted from source. And on our application, we put that there. So if you're using an HRPM application, in which I think this feature is only on this application, you will be able to input VAT deducted from source. So at the end of the month, the system will show you a breakdown of your VAT output, input deducted from source, and tell you how much you're supposed to remit to government. So in oil and gas, most of you, I can tell you, you are not owing VAT at the end of the month, most of the time, because you've already paid those VATs. As a matter of fact, government will be owing you VAT because you have VAT inputs. You too have vendors that you paid to, and because you paid to those vendors, by the time you do your VAT remittance, you have credit with government. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir, you have, I suppose.
Where's the
Thank you
P&L?
very much.
Felix, yeah, where's the P&L calculated? Yeah, that's you. Yeah, and that's why I said we have an accounting application on HRP Hub that allows you to generate your P&L every month. Once you input the money in, money out regularly in the month, at the end of the month, you just click a button, your P&L is generated. The VAT, you have a portion that generates the VAT report. You can see your VAT output, input, deducted from source, withholding tax details also. All those reports are generated, and then you can do your planning. It's good to see your P&L every month. It's like seeing the health of your business. Some people are doing business, they are doing okay, but there are some months that are bad. They don't even know they are doing badly. So with the HRP up, we have features where you can do you can do analytical comparisons, compare January, February, March, April expenses, revenue, different kinds of expenses. So you can see the health of your business in bar charts, different features so that you can plan better. And you can also better calculate your VAT due to government, withholding tax, and things like that. Who needs to give you permit? Yeah, okay. How do you get the package you're talking about? So I will type it here. You can charpayhub.com. So and I can send you a quick email. If you send us an email, somebody will reach out to you. And the free one I already shared earlier. Okay. Another question. Let's see. What is the cost? So the tax calculator is free. That's free. For the other one, I think if you reach out to us, we'll let you know. And varies by number of users. But the pay tax calculator is free for everybody. You can just go to the website. You don't even need to sign up. You can use it right away. We don't need nobody asking for anything. Let me send
All
that
right,
to
I
you.
think we're skipping one question. The person is asking, is it possible to embed VAT in your final cost? Most of my clients refuse to pay, so I embedded it inside the cost. I need to know if it's legal in Nigeria.
So the law actually requires that VAT should be in the invoice, separated. It should actually be separated. You have to insist. But if you are not separating them, it's okay. I get it. Embed it, give it to them. But when you get audited by government, you probably can change your invoice to show, because you already collected the money anyway, which is the right thing. So in terms of documentation, if you show audit people, invoices without VAT components, you will not be doing the right thing. But the most important thing is to collect VAT, whether it is shown on the invoice or not. If you collect, you can always adjust your invoice as long as you've collected the money.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Jibo, for being with us today. But may I please ask if anyone is having any question as regards the first session that we had, that's on your health, managing your stress level, please indicate so at least we can have the questions and we know that we had attended to all of the questions that we have in today's webinar without going with any of your questions unresolved or unanswered too. Please let me just have your hand. Okay. All right. Could you please drop it in either in the comment section or in the Q&A box so that we can take the questions, please. Thank you so very much.
Sorry, I want to ask, I
All
see
right.
a question. Hold on, please. So the guy said,
Okay.
should I take out another question, jumped and passed? I changed my client for they literally jumped and passed and just paid what we charged them and ignored the VAT. This is the first time. Okay, the first question I saw was, I saw somebody saying, should I, what about you run oil and gas? No, I forgot the question again. How do we, no. Okay, I think the person was asking a question I've answered. How do you deduct? Again, when you have vendors, suppliers, and you've paid them VAT, because of course, you should be a good Nigerian, you should pay VAT. If you're paying VAT, that's VAT input for you. If you have received VAT, then that's VAT output. So when you're trying to remit, you should deduct the VAT input, the amount you've paid out from the amount that you received. Now, if people are refuse, the other person does, if they agree, and then find a way to clean your documents later. Because some people just don't like to see it. I'm not going to pay VAT. And I fully agree. Smaller businesses don't want to pay it. The big businesses know they have to pay it. The second is, am I going to tell you to stop doing business because of that or to insist? No, you can't fight. But you run a risk if somebody refuses to pay. So I've heard government officials say things like, oh, you refund the money, you don't do the business, you should decline that business. And I said, that's theory. I don't think anybody would decline, will refund money because the client did not pay VAT. You're going to beg the client to pay the VAT, but the client does not pay, you run a risk. If you get audited, you explain that you can show emails where you appeal to the client to pay and the client refuses to pay. So sometimes if you show evidence that you made effort to recover the money and they refuse to pay, sometimes some reasonable officials can understand that you made a lot of effort to get VAT in, which client just didn't pay, but most of them will not agree. They just say the law requires you to receive the money. But again, I get it. What are you going to do if somebody pays you and just refuses to pay the VAT? You can only appeal. I hope I've answered that question. You just need to do your best to appeal, beg them to pay VAT. That's the best you can do. And, you can call it a requirement, but at the same time, you have to appeal. Yeah, so this is the person that said, Liana, okay, it's the same Liana. Do I remit all the VAT or how do I calculate this? Yeah, so Liana, I mean, feel free if you send us an email, I can give you further advice free of charge. But to answer a question for everybody, you need to do your best to be tracking your own VAT input. If you don't track your VAT input with documents, you will have to remit the whole VAT output. So you've charged people VAT output, they've paid you. You need to now look at your own expenses. Which of them has input components? If you're not used to collecting receipts or keeping receipts in the past, now it's time for you to start collecting receipts from your own vendors, from your own suppliers. Make sure VAT is in there. And then at the end of the month, you look at inputs on those VAT, and then you input on the government portal. So that is deducted from your VAT output. So you enjoy some of the VAT. Bottom line, government is giving you back your VAT input from the output that you received. I still need to know how to get a P&L calculator. So this is Alexandra Oweye. Okay. I'm sending an email address. You can send us an email. We can show you more about that P&L. I have to show you more, but I don't think we have that time here. So that's Alex. You can send an email to care@hrpub.com. And the P&L is important, of course, not just for tax, but for the health of your business. Everybody needs, like I tell people, even if you are selling sugar, I have an aunt that's not very educated. I had to teach her how to do P&L. She would tell me things like, oh, I don't know if you're right, Ashirimbo, something like I'm surviving. But because I want her to expand the business, sometimes I'm trying to help her, but I had to teach her how to generate a P&L, in a local way, and it's helping her. So everybody really needs to try to have P&L generated monthly to help you understand the health of your business and to enhance your planning. But more importantly, for tax calculation. If you don't have a P&L as a limited company, especially, even as an enterprise, if you don't have a P&L, you will struggle with tax calculation. And so you'll be surprised. Sometimes your expenses are so high that your VAT liability will be very low at the end of the month, at the end of the year. But if you don't do that, tax authorities will come to you and they slam a lot of tax liability on you. Imagine you're making 10 million a month and you have maybe 9 million or 9.5 million expenses, which is very possible in Nigeria. If you don't have documentary evidence to demonstrate that you have 9.5 million expenses, tax authorities come, they're going to slam tax on 10 million. You start begging them, you start bribing. But if you had your documents complete and you have a P&L and you're able to demonstrate that, hey, out of this 10 million, I only made 500,000 naira, and you can show it, then your tax liability, your CIT is calculated on that 500K. And at the end of the year, you might even realize that whether it's 50 million, 100 million, your net may be so small because a lot of businesses in Nigeria are operating with small net margin. Many businesses. So your net may be so small that your tax liability will be really small. But if you don't have this, it's very easy for tax authorities to just slam you with big, tax liabilities, and you're not able to defend yourself. Okay. Now go ahead. I think there's a healthcare question.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer. We're really grateful to have you today. Thank you so very much. I think even me, I get some sort of clarity as to task and calculating the wholesome health of the business. Thank you so very much, sir. So I've gotten only one question about our health as to the first session. Please, if you have any more questions as regard your health, managing your stress level, please can I have it in the comment section so I have Dr. Ibile take the questions. So please let me have them in a bit in the comment section. I'm going to give, okay, pardon me for how the name is pronounced, but I hope, Ogene, right. Could you please drop it in the comment section, or would you want to speak? And is it about the tax or is it about your health, managing stress, basically? Please let me have you engage in the comment section, please. Thank you. Thank you so very much once again, Doctor, for joining us. All right, so while we're doing that, I have in the comment section the feedback form. I would please implore everyone to feed the feedback form. Let's see how to help better, how to serve you better, how to be of help, and how to actually listen to you. Because here at Access Bank, we really do more than banking. We want to be that bank that listens to the customer. So please let me have you fill the feedback form in the comment section while we wait for those who are putting their questions as to how to manage their stress level in the comment section as well. Please pick the feedback form and let's have it filled. Thank you once again. Okay, thank you so very much for everyone who is filling the form. Alexandrina, pardon me, please. I'm seeing your questions. So I would like to have them all together so that I can all take it at once. So if you have more questions as regard managing work stress, you can please drop them in the comment section so we just have them all at once. Thank you so very much for joining us, and please fill the feedback forms so that we know how to serve you better. Thank you so very much for taking time to be here. All right, I think I have 3 questions now. Let's have it coming, please. Let's keep it coming. Okay, so maybe I'm just going to start with the first question so that while we are answering those questions, other questions can drop them in the comment section and we don't keep you any further. So, Doctor, thank you so once again for joining us today. So we have a question from Theodora also to you. So she's asking, talking about cortisol, some people are naturally night sleepers. How do you know if the night light sleep pattern is a result of stress or is natural? So she really wants to know.
All right, do I go ahead to answer?
Yes, please.
All right, so it's very easy to know if you're sleeping as a result of stress or if you are. I'm not sure what is meant by natural night sleepers because most human beings are natural night sleepers. You're supposed to sleep most of the sleep you have in the night, maybe 1 hour during the day if you can, but all 8 hours, at least 7 hours at night. Now, how you know that you are sleeping a normal sleep is that you don't find it difficult to fall asleep. Within 30 minutes of going to bed, you have fallen asleep. And then you wake up feeling rested. You wake up and you're feeling rested. Your energy is there. You can take on the day. When you sleep and sleep and sleep out of stress, some people sleep when they're stressed. You may find it difficult to fall asleep. You may find it difficult to achieve restorative sleep. That means you just don't sleep deeply. You wake up and you know you don't feel rested. Oh, light sleepers. Oh, right. Correct. Okay, thank you for that correction. Yes, some people are light sleepers. There are different kinds of sleepers. Some people are short sleepers, but they have the short sleepers, they sleep for 4 hours and they're fine. That's like less than 5% of the population. Yes, so light sleepers, yes, some people are light sleepers. It's just your physiology. But still, like someone very close to me, actually, my mother is a light sleeper, especially when she was younger. If your shadow should pass by her when she's sleeping 20, 30 years ago, she would wake up. But she woke up in the morning before every one of us and got ready. She slept well. So how you know that you have slept well, even though you're a light sleeper, is you wake up refreshed. You wake up refreshed. And I also forgot to say when I was doing the presentation that research done in Lagos has shown that the best time to go to bed, the best time, is between 10 and 11 p.m. or between 9:30 and 11 p.m. That's the best time. I'm not saying that it's practical for everybody, but that's the best time. Then 7 hours will now take you to about 5 a.m. in the morning. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doctor. So that last comment is taking me to the next question. The person is asking, is it really possible to have 8 hours of sleep in this time and age, especially living and working in Lagos?
Yes, so I would say that it is tough. It is tough. Like when I was presenting, I said myself that I don't achieve it all the time. And I know that this is what the medicine shows, that you should sleep for that amount of time. But I also say that many times where we need to do some work is in our time management. Sometimes it will amaze you that if you can arrange your time, especially social media time, and you can begin to approximate 8 hours. If you get home before 10 and you can do everything that you have to do, you're done by 11. You can try to get to 6 a.m., and so it's a plan. One of the ways, I'll just say two things. Number one is that try and try and achieve it at least at weekends. If you have more time then, don't let all your days be full of short sleep. If your schedule is really, really tight, you get home at midnight, 5 a.m., you have to jump up again, and so on and so forth. It is very important to sleep early. It's not just important to wake early, it's important to sleep early. And so if you can get home earlier, that's good. Then as you get more stable in your business, try and work the logistics in such a way that your business place and your is not very far from your house. Try and work it out. It might be more expensive initially, but it will save you, in your health, and in other costs later. Because if it takes you less than 1 hour to get home and to get to your business place, or if you, work from home, you can achieve it with time management. Thank you.